What is happening, guys? Welcome back to Red Beer's Garage, and today we're going to be unboxing and checking out the new Duromax 439cc dual fuel engine. So the beauty about this engine is you can run it off liquid propane or gasoline, just like you would a generator from Duromax. So they finally came out with a standalone engine for you to do what your heart desires with. You can put this on a go-kart, mini bike, log splitter, generator, pressure washer, whatever you want, and you can run propane or gasoline. And that's a huge bonus, because sometimes you can be out of gas, but your dad's grill got a brand new tank on it. You can still let puppy off. This is really exciting. I'm gonna go over real quick the benefits of propane over gasoline and gasoline over propane. But again, the best thing about this engine is you don't have to choose one or the other. You can run propane for a while, then switch it over to gas, and you don't really have to do nothing but pour gas in the tank. So let's get this thing unboxed, and then we'll go over the features of propane and gasoline. So just like in the small block video, we're gonna go over what came with this engine and the benefits of propane and gasoline. What comes in the box is an electric start. I don't know the horsepower rating, but I know the torque is 26 foot-pounds of torque. So I would assume this engine is the same as their other 440s, which is an 18 horsepower claimed engine. This engine comes with the regulator for your propane bottle. This will fit on the larger 20-pound or up bottles, but you can buy an adapter shown on screen for $8 in the Amazon links that allows you to adapt it to 1-pound tanks. Now, you're not going to get much runtime off a 1-pound tank, just letting you know. Comes with a funnel, a key for the crankshaft. It also comes with a hot and ground for your battery, and then a spark plug tool, and of course the owner's manual. So, benefits of gasoline over propane is gasoline is everywhere. As you can find it at, of course, every gas station, but every mile down the interstate you're going to find a gas station, where propane might be a little more scarce than that. And then the only other reason to use gasoline over propane is you get a little bit more runtime per gallon of gasoline. So, if you're getting 30 minutes out of a gallon of gas, you're probably going to get 20 to 23 minutes out of a gallon of propane. That's the only benefits to gasoline over propane. But propane has way more benefits over gasoline. So propane is 104 or better octane, and you're more likely to get consistent octanes out of propane. So that means this bottle of propane right here is basically race fuel, where gasoline goes from 87 all the way up to race fuel, which is 110. And 110 race fuel around my area is $10 a gallon. Propane is not that expensive, so I would much rather use propane in a performance scenario, because you can run, the more octane you have, the more compression in your engine you can have. That's all the octane rating means, is the higher the octane, the more compression you can have in your engine. And my lovely assistant just told me that it says 18 HP, so I would imagine with the part number it's 18 horsepower. So another benefit is the shelf life of propane is 30 years. Gasoline now maybe last a couple months. It's awful quality, and I even think that the straight 100% gas that they're selling us has ethanol in it as well. And if you know anything about ethanol, it's horrible on fuel lines that are not prepared for ethanol. Like the fuel lines that are on this do not like ethanol. It'll harden them over time, they'll get brittle, it'll make your plastic fuel filters brittle, and they'll break over time. So it's actually dangerous to run a higher grade ethanol in these engines. So I highly recommend running 100% gasoline if you're going to, or if you're using one of these engines, I highly recommend using propane. Another benefit of propane is your carburetor isn't going to get gummed up. The propane basically shoots right in the throat of the carburetor. It doesn't have to fill a bowl up, and propane is extremely clean. So that means it's going to burn cleaner as well, being better for the atmosphere, but it's also going to keep your intake runner, your intake valve, your piston, way less carbon is going to build up on that stuff. With any of these 4-stroke engines, you're going to have blow-by, and that is when some of the gases escape past the piston ring and goes into the block, and that's why you have to vent through the valve cover to the carb, or what we do on aftermarket engines is vent it to atmosphere to be better for the atmosphere. Put it back where it came from. So you're not going to get that. You'll get it at a very slight amount with propane. Gasoline, that's why you're having to change the oil so often on these engines, is because you can't do 3,000 mile oil changes on them, because they have blow by, there's no filtration in the oil. So propane is going to keep your oil lasting longer and keep your engine lasting longer and performing at its best. And you won't ever have to worry about cleaning carbs. That's a massive, benefit to me, not having to clean carbs, because I'm telling you, we clean a lot of them around here. One more benefit of propane is you don't have to rejet the carb if you make tweaks. So if we was to pull this air box off and put Go Power Sports air filter adapter and air filter on it, we don't have to worry about pulling the bowl, draining the gasoline out of it, and tuning it. The propane will kind of tune itself, and that's the beauty of propane as well. You don't have to do a bunch of jetting and trying to figure out how to tune your engine. So you can put exhaust and an air filter on this right out of the box and not have to mess with the carb. And that's going to be huge for a lot of people, because I think carburetors is the hardest thing to tune on these engines, in my opinion. You can get carbs sometimes that are super finicky and some that tune out beautifully. So I have trouble with it myself. So that's a big benefit to propane. There's way more reasons to use propane, and one downside to it is where you're going to put this tank. You know, if you're running a larger 20-pound tank, you can buy the propane tanks like a fork truck has and make a mount for it on a buggy. I don't think it's crazy dangerous to run this tank, but you use it at your own risk. You see what you want to use on your go-kart and you make that decision for yourself. Duromax isn't saying Velcro this to your go-kart and rip at 90 down the road. They're not saying that, but they're just giving you the option to be able to run these. The carburetor is very simplistic, where I have bought propane carburetors for like a Duromax 440, and it has a regulator built onto it. It's bulky, it wouldn't fit on a mini bike frame. So I like this because the regulator is a secondary piece that just hooks up with a hose to the carburetor. That's really nice, because if you're not using it, you don't have this massive bulky regulator bolted on the engine. The regulator goes right on the tank. So what we're going to do is throw some AMSOIL. This is the oil that I go to on these engines. This is the break-in oil. I'll run 1 to 2 changes with this, and then once I break it completely in, then I use small engine oil. But if I'm taking the governor out and revving it to 5,000-6,000 RPMs, then I use their Dominator racing oil, because the small engine oil is not made for the crazy abuse of high RPM. So if you want to check out links in the video description, we do have links for AMSOIL down below. Let's get some of God's juice in this engine. I pre-filled this with the exact amount of oil I needed. Okay, so we have our engine hooked up to propane, and we also hooked a battery up to this one, so I'm going to pull start it. But to start a propane engine, you have the gas turned off. We're going to turn the choke on and purge it, turn the choke off, and start it. Identical to gasoline, just way cleaner. So Miss Redbeard was saying we're going to turn the propane off, but we need to build a engine stand to test small block all the way up to V-twin. So I do think I'm going to build some sort of stand that we can probably put outside, I would imagine. I don't know, a steel stand like mounted to the ground, so we can take these out and not get vibrations and stuff. But so let's get up on table and again do our final thoughts on this Duromax XP18 HPX propane and gasoline engine. So all in all, what do we think of this XP18 HPX? Is that right? Did I get, son of a gun, got it right. So I looked up the specs on how long it'll run off a tank of gas and how long it'll run off a 40 pound. This is a 15 pound propane, which I thought was 20, but obviously the label says 15 pounds. So this holds 1.4 gallons, so almost 1.5 gallons of fuel, and it'll run for 2 hours on that amount of fuel. And I'm assuming that's at 36, or I think this engine's rated for 4,000 RPM. So 4,000 RPM, you get 2 hours of use out of this tank. Now you'll get much more than that on a go-kart or something, because you're not at full bore all the time unless you're flat track racing or something. So 2 hours of use from a full tank, A full tank in our area will cost $3 or $4.60 to fill this tank up. So let's just call it $5, and even $5 for different states and stuff. So $5 to fill this up. This tank, to exchange it, was $27, and I exchanged it. I had an empty tank that I exchanged out. This is 15 pounds, so this would do about 3.5 hours of run time compared to the 1.4 gallons of fuel going 2 hours. So gasoline is definitely a more cost-efficient way to run this engine, for sure. Because if we had a 40-pound tank, we would get 8 hours of run time instead of 2 hours. So it'd take 4 tanks of gas to match up to one 40-pound tank of propane. I don't know how much a 40-pound tank of propane is. Let's call it $40 because I don't know. This would be, what is that? 6 gallons of fuel, and 6 times 3 is 18. And so let's call it $20. So it's half the price to run off gasoline over propane. But propane, again, has a lot of added benefits, like you don't have to clean the carbs. And how much are you running like a generator? When we run generators, we're at a meetup, and we're not running them. Sometimes we have ran them for a while. I guess our run quite, we run constantly at meetups.
The whole time.
Like we powered our electric cooler off of it, which was a waste. We would rather buy ice from now on for that. But we also take, pro tip, take an air fryer with you on trips. Me and Lonnie was air frying, Hot Pockets. We had pizza rolls, everything on that last meetup. So they're the way to go. You get crispy hot food right on the trail. It's really nice. Anyways, I digress. I mean, you're going to get more power definitely out of propane because it's 104 or better octane. It's cleaner. You're not going to be cleaning carburetors out at all. There's no cleaning whatsoever. It's going to keep your engine carbs down. So low carb diet for your engine. No carb buildup is going to build up on your valves and piston and stuff. It's going to be a way cleaner engine at the end of the day. Your oil is going to last longer, but you do pay for those added benefits. Is that why Duromax did it? No, they did it because in certain scenarios, people go crazy and go buy gasoline like crazy, but they don't buy propane as often as they do gasoline. So
like hurricane season. Yeah,
like hurricane season, you could have both fuels. We have 3 propane tanks we keep at all times for our grill. How we ended up with 3, I do not know. But we have 3 that's filled all the time, and we have 25 gallons of gas at all times on us, on my person. And we keep that because we have so many vehicles. So we have either or, but if I was running this engine on a buggy, I would probably run it on gasoline and just have a backup as propane. It would be cool to keep a couple 1-pound tanks with you. So if you run out of gas in the trail, that would be your way to get back. That would be sick.
Yeah, but you'd also have to keep the little cord thingy too.
Yeah, ammo can would hold, I would think an ammo can would hold this and at least 1 tank of propane. I think that would be cool. We might test that out at Turkey Bay if we can.
Just put a drop of gas in, go little.
We'll put like half gallon of gas, quarter gallon. Because these things run forever on gas, I'm telling you. You could probably fill this tank up and run it for hours and hours, like half a day or more on a trail. They're really fuel efficient. And I would like to see how long you get on 1-pound tanks of propane. That'd be pretty cool. What up?
We do have a meetup coming up.
Yes, and that gets me to the next point. We have a meetup at Turkey Bay in December. You can go to rbgcarts.com/events to find out more information on that. We're going to have a ton of items that you could take home. You get entered to win just by being there. You can buy extra raffle tickets if you want to up your chances. If you like to gamble, you're wanting a retirement plan. We got a ton of stuff. We have winches, engines, performance parts. We got tools from Harbor Freight. Everybody's sending a ton of stuff. We got blaster products, abrasives. It's the biggest, the biggest amount of products we've ever done at a meetup.
We also love to hang out and ride.
Yeah, we have a great time. We ride. I do have a video I never edited from last time. I don't like to edit ride videos. They're boring to edit. They're not boring to make, but they're boring to edit. But
I should do it.
We will definitely be there I'm going to be on a mini bike the majority of the time. I love them. Hopefully Lonnie's going to be there, but we'd love to see you out there. Make sure to check out our website. Massive shout out to Duromax for sending this engine out. They've been supporting the channel for 5 years now. We love Duromax engines. I've never had one fail. I have one fail. I didn't put oil in it, drove it, and blew it up. My fault. But they're great engines. If you're in the market for a big block engine, I always suggest the 440 engines over all the other ones. You're getting more cc's for free. It's like you got a 420 and bored it out and put a 92 millimeter piston. And side note, this has a 92 millimeter piston, 66 millimeter bore. So that's the specs on that hog. But we'll be building this thing out full build on the channel, keeping it propane. We're not going to put a Mikuni on or nothing. We're going to keep the style carb, put a better air filtration system on it, and cold air intake like the boys with the Hondas. And we can't wait to do it. So let us know what you want to see us use this engine for. If you have any crazy ideas, let us know. We love to hear them. Thank you guys for supporting us. Make sure to check out the links in the video description. They help us out, and we love you, and God bless.